Today we're going to talk about the power of a blessing. When you understand the power of a blessing, then you unleash the floodgates of heaven to flow and function in your life. You unleash the blessings. You unleash that spirit of multiplication. You unleash that exponential factor to work in your life. You unleash the powers of the law of sowing and reaping into your life. A lot of times when people hear about a blessing, they look at blessing in a negative way. But your blessing is your highest act of worship. It's an act of worship. So it cannot be tied to a spirit of manipulation. It cannot be tied to a spirit of greed. It cannot be tied with a spirit of hatred. It cannot be tied with a spirit of hostility. It cannot be tied with a spirit of privilege. It cannot be tied with a spirit of knowing that or thinking that I'm better than someone else. It cannot be tied with a spirit of a handout. It cannot be tied with a spirit of hatred or malice of any kind. Whenever you bless, you have to bless, because you see, your creator knows your heart. Your creator knows your innermost motive. Your creator knows what's going on in your mind. Your creator knows the motive behind what you're doing. And what you're doing has to be an act of genuine worship. You see, as it's an act of genuine worship, it allows the floodgates of heaven to function and pour in your life. It activates the law of sowing and reaping. You might ask how? Because the fact is, whenever you're blessed out of a true heart, you start reaping exponentially. You start reaping in different areas of your life that you didn't even thought that you could reap. You start getting ideas. You start getting invention ideas. You start getting complex solutions to complex problems. You start being smeared with favor. When I say smeared with favor, imagine somebody takes a bucket of honey and get a brush and starts brushing it all over you. Whenever you walk into a room, you start smelling with honey. And that's what happens when you have the favor of your creator on your life, because nobody could come up against you, because greater is he that is for you than he that is against you. That's why a lot of times people will try to destroy you. People will try to put traps in your way. People will try to put snares in your way. But those snares and those traps catches whosoever puts them in your way, then they catch you. Because what? You have the favor of your creator on your life. And that's what happens when you activate the law of sowing and reaping. You might say, well, you know what? People will abuse if I bless. People will abuse if I do things. People will abuse it. Don't worry about that. If you're worrying about that, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. When you're blessed, you shouldn't worry about what the other person will do, because the law of reciprocity will take effect. Whatever they sow, they too will reap. You can never take from somebody who is blessed and not receive the reward of what you're taking. Because what happens when you steal from somebody, when you manipulate somebody, when you do all of that, what you think you have just starts shriveling up and dying. What you think you have just starts coming up to nothing. You know, just like the children of Israel when they were in the desert and they were instructed just to eat the manna every day, and then manna, fresh bread, will be provided for them every day. And what they did, they started saving that bread and start saving that manna. And what happened? That manna start develop maggots and worms and start rotting. And that's what happens when you ill-treat somebody who's truly blessing. If you are operating out of a heart of a true blesser, if you're operating of a heart of a true giver, you don't have to worry about anybody's manipulative spirit. You don't have to worry about anybody's thievery spirit. You don't have to worry about none of that, because what happened? They will reap what they sow. They're going to think they're getting away with it. it. They'll walk around in the nice fancy clothes. They'll have the fancy car. They'll have all of that. But it's just for a season. Just like the book of Proverbs shares. Would you see a wise man who knows how to build wealth? And if he does it the correct way, it will keep building. But you see, a fool doesn't know. And what a fool thinks, by taking advantage of somebody else, they're pulling a fast one. But it's short-lived. It's short-lived. Anything that's hastily gotten will be easily lost. It will be easily lost because they don't understand the law of a blessing, the power of a blessing. You see, you cannot have a tree without you having roots. And a lot of times people see the fancy things in life, but they don't understand those fancy things in life stands on a bedrock of principles and fundamentals. And they don't understand those fundamentals, and they violate those fundamentals. And that's what happens when the storms of life comes through. The storms of life causes them to topple over. The storms of life causes them to topple over. But what happens when the storms of life come into a life of someone who is blessed? It literally caused the manifestation of those things that were jealous towards them, those things that hate them, those people who don't like them. They start manifesting. I remember once going through a Hurricane Hugo, and when I went through Hurricane Hugo, we were sheltering from the hurricane, and I peered out one of the windows, and as I looked out during Hugo's massive winds outside, I saw things sailing around that I never even thought existed. I never even knew they were there. So what happens whenever you start having blessings in your life? That brings about a spirit of acceleration, and as that spirit of acceleration comes about, don't be upset when it causes jealousy to be stirred in the peoples whose hearts are not for you. Don't be upset when it causes those people who are not for you to appear. Don't be upset when people start tugging you down or people start belittling you, because what happened? Your Creator is revealing to you the sore spots, revealing to you the hidden motives of a lot of people around you, and He's saying you don't need those people in your life right now. The place where I'm taking you, the blessings that I'm going to give you, those people don't need to be part of those blessings. And He causes those things to manifest, to hurt and jerk people's mentalities, people's mindset, people's heart motivation, people's place where they are, people's true nature to come to the surface so you could see who they are. He's causing an examination of those natures. And as He caused those examinations of those natures and caused those natures to come to the surface, don't be upset. Learn and realize that these people are mere scaffolding. I need to remove them from around my building so that the eloquence of my building could be seen, so that what I'm building could be built on the solid rock. And as it's built on the solid rock, the blessings and the provisions will start flowing in my life. You see, it's one of those awesome things because we're about at the time of Thanksgiving. We're about at the time of Christmas. And what you want to do is that when you're blessing people, you bless people. As I read the book of Proverbs, one of the things the book of Proverbs talks about is that and I'll paraphrase it, it's better for you to sit and eat alone than to eat with someone who constantly complains as how costly or how expensive what you're eating is. It's better for you to eat alone than to eat with someone who constantly complains about how costly that what you're eating is. You see, if somebody doesn't bless you when you're not around, if somebody doesn't bless you or speak good of you when you're not around, if somebody is jealous of how you're succeeding, if somebody's jealous of how life is treating you, you need to watch who you eat with as well. You need to watch who you're celebrating with as well, because the people who you celebrate with have to be people who show you honor, who show you love, who show you respect, who are integral, people who are the same in front of your face that they are behind your back. So as you go out there, when you have family members and everybody coming in for Thanksgiving and Christmas, instead of taking those pics and try to dig it in people's backs and try to hash up old hard feelings, stay clear of those areas and just start looking at the areas which protrudes love, which shows grace, which shows peace. Stay away from all the political issues. Stay away from anything that will cause rift, and just let that spirit of love, let that spirit of a blessing, let that spirit of grace, let that spirit of care, and let that spirit of charity flow. And as that spirit of charity flows, then what happens? You will start seeing transformation in people's lives. Go out there today and learn and understand the power of a blessing. God bless you. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button below. Hit the subscribe button below. And when you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to select the bell, because by selecting the bell, it gives you that wonderful opportunity to be notified whenever I add a new video. God bless you. Have an awesome and happy Thanksgiving. Have an awesome and happy Christmas season. And enjoy your family. And go out there and be a blessing. Remember, the power of a blessing comes from a heart of love. The power of a blessing comes from a heart of a grace. The power of a blessing comes from a heart that genuinely wants to give. Not from a heart that gives to get, or a heart that gives because of what somebody did for you or what somebody can do for you. Go out there and just genuinely bless others. Use the talents that you have to bless others. Use the talents that you have to elevate others. God bless you.